Want to learn something new? Hang around with a Trump supporter. Now, first of all, I don't really care what your opinion is in politics. I don't care if you're a Democrat fan, I don't care if you're a Republican fan, and wherever this content is, if you're going to get into a comment kind of war in the bottom of this video or this podcast, I won't be coming and reading those comments because I don't really care on either side. I think both of those parties have been probably in power long enough in that country, and if they haven't sorted it out by now, again, I don't think they're ever going to do it. It's this kind of, as Bill Burr says, it's this kind of playground mentality saying, well, I've been in power for 4 years and I could have got a lot more done, but it's them, they're the problem. And then you have the ones on the other side, when they get in, then they're pointing the finger. So it's like a big crowd of kids in a playground, all squabbling and pointing to each other, and nobody is getting anything done. So I had made a little bit of a skit about Donald Trump in an email yesterday. Now, I don't know when you are going to listen to this or watch this video, but there yesterday Donald Trump was seen coming up, walking towards the podium, and for no absolute reason, when he got to a level flat place to stand on, he suddenly started throwing shapes and he started going sideways. And he did that for a second or a split second, and then he kind of finished off with a little bit of a hand gesture. So he's trying to make out that it was a funky move, rather than that he is probably turning into an old fart and his balance is going. So he's trying to disguise it with this kind of funky dance. Now, I sent an email out to the list saying that, you know, what has Donald Trump and the Daleks from Doctor Who got in common? And that was that stairs are their enemy. Now, there was a lady who took an exception to what I had said, and she had written me a long email. So she sat down and she thought about it, and she had said that Donald Trump was a great businessman, he'd done a lot for the country, he was making great changes, and unfortunately this coronavirus now has come along and knocked over all his little skittles, and whatever progress he made is now gone. Now, she had also said, well, you know, she is somebody who is living in the US, I'm not, so, you know, maybe she kindly said it, maybe I should keep my nose out of it because it's not my country. And again, she is right, it's not my country. But as I said, I don't really care on either side what political party you're following, because it's not that I'm trying to be unbiased. I just have no time for politicians and people who show up just to get their photograph, you know, on a paper, or who walk around sniffing people's kids and all those different things. I have no time for any of that. And I usually find, especially what angers me sometimes, is somebody maybe who has done a great sporting thing, maybe would have won medals in the Olympics, and then you have this kind of cheesy looking slime ball coming in, shaking people's hands and standing in the background as if they had some kind of, you know, help, or they helped out in some way in that person getting the gold medal. Sometimes I just want to turn around and just smack that person and just say, here, get out of the picture, you shouldn't even be here. But as I said, a lot of them are slimy and smarmy, and they look for any photographic chance to step on your fame or step on something that you've done to kind of lift themselves up from everybody else, you know. And as I said, it's a lot of yes-men who, you know, will say the most pleasing things to you because they want your vote, but then after that, don't come knocking on my door because it's completely locked and there's a large wall between the two of us, so don't come pestering me. So as you can probably tell, I have no love for politicians. Now, while she's entitled to opinion, just as like I'm entitled to my opinion, I probably could learn a few things from her. Now, if you are a big Republican fan, you may be looking at the Democrats, or you may be Democrat and you may be looking at the Republicans, and you have drawn a line in the sand. You know, what they're saying doesn't make sense, you know, what they're doing doesn't make sense, and you can't see how they see the world the way they see it. Now, there is a benefit in walking toward or trying to get into the other side and have a look at life from their side. You know, at the moment, if I went into a writing forum, I would probably find a lot of people who are maybe pro-Kindle or anti-Kindle. They think, well, the Amazon Kindle kind of program and selling of books on the Amazon store was one of the greatest things that ever happened because they're able to make money from home. And then you'll have the people on the other side who say, well, Jeff Bezos is the kind of antichrist and he's ruining everything and he's destroying the publishing game and he's making it so that any idiot can sit in front of a keyboard and release a book. and it's going to be the downfall of literature and all those different things. You're going to have both people on that, and you're going to find that, you know, each of those, like the Democrats and the Republican followers, are going to be dug in tight, and they're not going to be willing to move. They're not going to be willing to look at new ideas. But sometimes, you know, if you are following a group, it's almost like you're in an echo chamber, because you're hearing the things you want to hear. Now, the lady in question, when she finished off our email, she said that there was a while back I had made a laugh at Trump, and she hesitated for a moment on clicking the buy-in link because of what I said. Now, because I am probably taking the odd pop at him now and then, she kind of more or less said, well, you know, if I keep it up, you can forget about me as a buyer, and I'm not going to be clicking on your buy link. Now, what she is doing is, she is so entrenched in Trump and, you know, his followings and whatever he does, but she's so entrenched in that kind of Trump mentality that she isn't willing to buy a product that could help her. She's more or less just cutting off her nose to just keep face that, you know, because by her doing that, she is in some way keeping up Trump's good name, and in some way she's probably going to be thanked in the future. You know, thanks for not buying that product because you supported me because somebody was taking a pop at me. Now, unfortunately, she is going to lose out because she's not going to be buying my products. But again, as I said, that is her opinion, and she's welcome to do that if she wants to. It's not really going to put me out on the street. But she could be buying good products right now that could be turning her business around. And again, you could be learning things from maybe the other party. You know, as I said, should you really be doing the things you are doing? Are you kind of in a group who says, well, you know, you should be writing 1,000 words every day, or you should be posting your books here, or you should be pricing them here, or you should be pricing them there? And because you're in that group, you're kind of following along with the herd, and you're copying everything that they are doing. Whereas maybe if you just step back for a second and stepped into the other camp and had a look from the other side, you might actually come up with some new ideas. Again, if you are, you know, a Trump supporter, I'd imagine if you hang around with Democrats for a while, you would probably pick up maybe a few things that you're not seeing because you are in the Trump group all the time. Or again, the other way around, you know, if you want to maybe learn a little bit more about Trump, or learn maybe something that you don't know, maybe it might be worthwhile if you're a Democrat, maybe walking around with the Trump supporters for a while, and you might pick up maybe a few, you know, I don't know what you would pick up, but you would be looking at the world from a completely different angle than where you are now. So as I said, this lady, unfortunately, she is never going to probably look at the world in a different way. And because I am having a little skit and having a little laugh at Donald Trump, she isn't going to buy my products probably in the future. And she isn't going to look at the world outside what Trump is. You know, us being outside the US, maybe we are getting a biased, you know, news. You know, all the news reports are biased towards the Democrats rather than the Republicans. I don't know, but sometimes you need to step outside what's going on to come up with original ideas. You know, as you said, as you probably well aware of, heard before, you know, if there is an argument, there's always three sides to the story. There's your side, there's the other person, and then there's an independent person who was standing, a bystander, who saw it in a completely different way. So have a think about that today. You know, are you following maybe a group that, you know, isn't going to challenge your thinking, who is going to nod along with everything you say? Again, Facebook is one of the worst places for that. If you are kind of biased in any way at all, you are just going to be constantly giving content like that isn't going to challenge your thinking, that is just going to, you're going to nod along with, that you're just going to kind of lap up, and you're not going to look at things from the other side. So keep that in mind today. Maybe it's time to hang around with a Trump supporter, or maybe it's time to hang around with a Democrat or whatever. But you need to look at the world in a different way sometimes to come up with new ideas. You could be doing things that are wrong right now. Maybe you are pricing your books wrongly. Maybe you are putting your books in the wrong place. Maybe you need to give up on that argument that Jeff Bezos is the Antichrist and that you shouldn't put your books on Amazon. Maybe if you did try that, you might find things a little bit different. So give that some thought today. You know, everybody has their opinion, but at the end of the day, is everyone's opinion right? And sometimes you will learn a little bit more if you look at things from the other side of the curtain, and you know, you may pick up some things you're doing wrong, and you never know how you might advance yourself and your business because you look at it that way. So give that some thought today. So as always, again, if you are going to post any comments about Democrats or Republicans, I'm not going to read it because I absolutely have no interest in it at all. So you're wasting your time. I'm never going to see it. But if you'd like to find more of this great content, do a search for WriteCome, WriteCome.com. Now, if you subscribe on YouTube or iTunes, I will send the next couple of episodes straight to your device and you can watch it or listen to it on that. And as always, Democrats or Republicans, I don't really care what you are. But again, thanks for sharing your time with me again today. Take care. Have a great day. Bye bye.